goes there.
Oh, there goes T.Y. Hilton. It's a foot race. And there he goes. Touchdown.
This pass is intercepted. It's guess who again? Leonard. Leonard's going to score.
Welcome back to the stable. I'm Isaiah Rosner, and today I have my friend and Indianapolis sports fanatic, Jacob Hughes. Jacob, we are talking Colts today. You are wearing an Indy 11 jersey right now, so I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what's up with that, but
well, I guess
Colts.
I guess I'm a bit more of a soccer fan myself, but I am Colts fan through and through, so I'm hyped to be here.
Honestly, that wasn't my best introduction of a guest, but I'm happy to have you on here. So thank you for coming on.
Happy to be here, man.
So mainly today we're going to talk about the Colts draft. I definitely covered it, I think, in one episode before, but I haven't done a whole lot with that subject, so I definitely want to talk some more about that, and you've heard my voice enough, so get another opinion on that. So, we're just going to go through each pick and go ahead and talk about mainly what Jacob thinks about it, and, of course, have some discussions on that. So starting it off, in the second round, of course, the Colts traded back, got DeForest Buckner. I think that was great. I'm hoping you do too. What do you think about Buckner?
I think that was a fantastic
Yeah.
move. Yeah, that's probably one of the best things we could have done this whole entire offseason.
Because the thing is, now we don't have to, we have to pay Buckner, but otherwise you'd be drafting Javon Kinlaw, and he's good, but
he's not DeForest Buckner.
He's not DeForest Buckner at all, and now we get Michael Pittman Jr. So
exactly.
Good move. But anyway, what do you think about Michael Pittman Jr., who was taken in the second round, number 34 overall? What are your thoughts on this kind of physical, kind of a possession, maybe some red zone threat wide receiver? What are your thoughts on him?
Well, basically with Pittman Jr., I kind of sum it up to one stat that I've seen.
Okay.
And in his college career, he has had 254 targets and only 5 career drops.
Wow. That's
so
really...
that in itself is pretty ignorant to me. And honestly, watching some film of him, he's so talented. He's quick. He is tall. He can get over defenders. He can do anything he wants when he's in the positions he needs to be in. And he's also someone I think will help the community, help the culture of the team overall. He's a young guy. He has a YouTube channel, a vlog channel.
He does.
He vlogged getting his Colts jersey. I mean, how cool is that? That's something we haven't seen before.
Definitely
with any player.
Help get the young, the young people into the Colts bandwagon.
He definitely will have that culture. He will have the ability to change the culture to make it younger, more exciting, and I think that's something we need right now, especially with an acquisition like Mr. Phillip Rivers.
Yeah. And Pittman Jr., I don't know if this is a great comparison, but I feel like he's kind of like a DK Metcalf, kind of a taller guy, but someone that can still run pretty quick for a wide receiver. Mm-hmm. And as you said, he can kind of do everything. He can be he can be, let me say, he can be a possession receiver.
Yeah.
He can be a red zone threat at points, I would think. And he's also kind of a speed guy. He's not really, he's not really any one thing. He's big, but he's also gets open downfield. He's kind of a deep threat. So how do you think he'll fit in kind of in that team?
Well, I'm going to be bold here, and I'm saying that he's backing up T.Y. because I think he is the second best receiver we have on our roster. If you really look at his play, you look at his senior year especially, this kid is just brilliant. I mean, the things he does in that position, it's so fun to watch. And I think alongside T.Y., both of them being different types of receivers, to be honest, I think that'll be a really good threat down the field. And honestly, that's only if we really need them because, well, we know our motto, run the damn ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And then moving on to the next one, Jonathan Taylor, the running back, taken a few picks later at number 41 overall. Many are considering him to be one of the best running backs in the draft. He wasn't the first selected, but what do you think about the pick of Jonathan Taylor?
Okay. Jonathan Taylor is my favorite pick in this draft because this guy is just pure explosiveness. I mean, he's three Big Ten rushing titles.
Wow. Yeah, he did that. That's right. Was it his last 3 years, or did he get it freshman and junior? I'm not really sure, but
I'm not sure either.
Either way, 3 is incredible out of 4 years.
Yeah.
Great mark.
And him combined with Marlon Mack, that's not a 1-2 punch, that's a 1-1 punch. That's like our motto of running the damn ball or whatever. It's going to come clearer and clearer all throughout this season. We're going to really see that this offensive line and these running backs are going to do some damage for the Colts.
Yeah. Now, people know that have listened to these know that I wasn't actually a huge fan of this pick, and I like Jonathan Taylor, but I've always thought that running backs aren't as useful as other positions can be. So,
Fair.
do you think it was really worth it? And I mean, I'm assuming the answer is yes. This is probably kind of a bad question, but do you really think it was worth it for them to draft a running back this high up in the draft when there were other positions that the Colts kind of needed, especially on maybe the offensive line or the defensive side of the ball?
6,174 total yards. 6th all-time in the FBS.
Yeah. So I think those stats kind of speak for themselves.
I mean, look, I don't know. I look to stats when I can't like determine really for sure. I look to stats, and that one is just stupid. Along with 55 touchdowns, I don't know. It was a risk picking up another running back, but I think it's a great pick. Yeah.
All right, so then the next pick was safety Julian Blackmon. He was in the 3rd round, pick 85 overall. And this was kind of an interesting pick because Blackmon was injured, and he was originally supposed to go higher, or maybe early 2nd or late 1st round. But then the injury has set him back to a point where he almost for sure won't be able to play at the beginning of the season, assuming it starts in September. So what do you think about this safety pick by Chris Ballard?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I don't know a lot about Julian Blackmon.
Okay.
I'm excited about the pick. I think it's an interesting one given who do we have at safety already?
Malik Hooker and Carl Willis.
I think Malik Hooker is very, very talented.
Okay.
I think he has tons of room to grow, and I'm not sure if taking Julian Blackmon was necessary. Okay. I don't know. I think Malik Hooker could have continued to fill that role, but
now I would mainly agree with you on this, but I don't know if you know, but the Colts didn't pick up Malik Hooker's 5th-year option this year, which was kind of a surprise because he has done fairly well, but he also has been injured a lot.
Yeah.
And so some people are wondering if the Colts aren't really satisfied with Hooker's play and are planning on getting rid of him and letting another team pay him some pretty decent money that he'll probably earn, or if they just want Blackmon as a safety net.
True.
It should be interesting to see, but I think we'll go ahead and move on then to probably the most exciting pick in the draft. It did come in the 4th round, but it came in the form of something a lot of Colts fans probably wanted them to get earlier, and that was a quarterback with the 122nd pick in the draft. The Colts drafted Jacob Eason.
Jacob Eason, my man. I'm very excited about this pick, actually, and I don't know if a lot of people are, because I think a lot of people don't know about him. But coming out of high school, this kid was the number 1 prospect in the nation. And then he went to, Bama or Georgia?
Don't ask me. I'm not a
I think he went to Georgia and then didn't get the spot. Jake Fromm took it from him because of injury. He played for Washington, and back in his senior year, he was back to almost his best. This guy has an arm that is insane. When you watch his highlights, it is just deep bomb after deep bomb after deep bomb, accurate as heck, and it's just insane. I think under Phillip Rivers, if Phillip Rivers can fulfill the role of being the teacher and the veteran, Phillip Rivers is a different story. I think he's a gamble all on his own, but if he can fulfill the role of being a teacher, I think he could teach some really good things to Jacob Eason. I think he could build him into a quarterback that is, and I know this is a stretch, I know this might be a little much,
oh boy,
but reminiscent of Peyton Manning.
Okay, wow, that is a bold take. What do you see in him that's like Peyton Manning, though?
I see his arm, I see how he can read the field, and I see his movement in the pocket, especially the movement in the pocket. There's not much, but he makes the decisive decision to get the ball to where he needs it to be, and he gets it there with some of the best accuracy I've ever seen.
Now, Eason did have a good amount of interceptions last year, and this definitely isn't to discredit what you said, because Manning threw a lot of picks in his beginning of the NFL. But overall, what do you think of these interceptions that he's thrown? Do you think this will be a major problem for the Colts, or do you think it's one that he can overcome fairly easily?
I think that's an interesting question because when you look at Phillip Rivers, has he been the most successful? Because I really think it comes down to what Phillip Rivers can teach this kid.
Right.
And I know that's bold. I know a lot of kids come into the NFL and they're like, okay, I can do this on my own. But I think what's vital to Eason is the experience, the knowledge he'll get from Phillip Rivers, and maybe even, now I don't know about this, but maybe even just slight knowledge from Jacoby Brissett.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
I think if that is a tough one, and that's something I'm worried about, but I think with the proper guidance from Rivers and Brissett, I think he can overcome that pretty easily.
And what I'm going to say is a lot of speculation. I don't really know what goes on the sidelines, but I mean, Phillip Rivers will be on the field the whole time, so I could just see them both, with the tablet. I'm talking about Jacob Eason and Jacoby Brissett just on the sideline, just Brissett saying, "Oh, look at that! He looked left and then he saw this one on the right, or whatever happens," and saying, that's a good play. And Eason's like, "Why is that a good play? Oh, because of this."
I think you're right. Eason could learn a lot from both of those quarterbacks, but even possibly more from Brissett because of how often they're going to be on the sideline together, and I know they're going to be, I guess, competing for that spot, but I think Brissett has also started to maybe accept his role in the team, because I think the organization made it clear to him with the acquisition of Phillip Rivers that his role is unfortunately not starting.
Yeah, and talking about the competition, personally, I would think that Brissett would be pretty much the backup at this point, because he was still a decent starter last year. He wasn't terrible. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it'd be really hard for Eason to catch him up on there. If he does, though, that'd be really exciting if he could be already better than Brissett. But that'd be a stretch for his rookie year, I feel like. First,
I want to say something about Brissett. I don't think he's a bad quarterback.
I agree.
I think he's a potentially starting quarterback for any one of NFL teams, but I don't think he's a Super Bowl quarterback by any stretch of the imagination, and I'm not even sure he's really that much of a playoff quarterback.
Okay.
But he is still capable of doing great things with the football, and I think even more capable of teaching younger people how to do good things with the football. I think that would be beneficial for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to go a little bit off topic here, but the interesting thing with Brissett is I think a lot of us assumed there would be a major market for that kind of quarterback. Like, we're like, oh, we can get a second round, maybe even like a late first round pick for him. Maybe first was a bit of a stretch, but maybe a second round pick for him.
It just wasn't.
And it turns out that it seems like every team kind of has either a really good quarterback or at least someone they're planning on building on.
Yeah.
So there wasn't really a market for him. That's why Cam Newton took so long to get signed before he finally did by the Patriots. There's other good quarterbacks out there that you would think would be on teams that aren't right now. You'd think they could even be starters, but they're not even on a team right now because there's just so many quarterbacks in the league that could be decent to good.
The state of the league right now, and specifically the state of the quarterbacks in the league, is probably the best I've ever seen it.
Yeah, I would agree.
You've got so many names that you're like, okay, they could be an MVP next season. Mm-hmm. And there's also Patrick Mahomes. So that's a tough one.
Yeah, and it's just cool because this is kind of a unique time where there's just like multiple generations of quarterbacks that are still in the league. Like, no one really good has retired for a while. Maybe I'm forgetting someone, but I can't think of any great quarterback that's retired since Peyton Manning, and that was a while ago.
That's why, just to go off on a bit of a tangent, that's why I'm so confused by the Packers' decision in this draft. Because Aaron Rodgers still has a fair amount left in the tank and a fair amount left to give that organization, and they basically just they just said, okay, you're done. We're gonna look for your replacement.
I don't know if that's fair. It's smart. I don't know if I agree with that. What was their first round pick? I think it was a first round pick. So that's pretty excessive, but it is smart to get your replacement at some point. I don't think they're saying he's done. I think he could still play 2 to 3 more years with the team.
My problem is I think good quarterbacks come almost every year. Mm-hmm. There are some quarterbacks still playing that you could look at and be like, maybe we should just wait for them. In college, But I think good quarterbacks come every year, which is why I'm so confused as to why they didn't filled needs during that draft. But
Yeah, and it is definitely surprising they didn't get a playmaker like Rodgers publicly said. But to counter what you were saying, there may be good quarterbacks every year, but you don't always know who the good quarterbacks are. I mean, Mahomes is taken 10th overall, so that tells you something.
Yeah.
So maybe they're really sure about him. They just think he's one of the best scouted prospects they've had out of college, and they just think he's a sure thing. And
to be fair, you want to find someone that fits your system, and if you find someone that fits your system, you're gonna take them. So it's understandable. It's just a bit weird.
Yeah. Well, we definitely got off on a tangent there. That's fine though. That's what's great about talking Colts.
Yeah.
But I'll go ahead and move it on to our final one we're going to talk about. We're not going to talk about the 4th, 6th round picks because no one cares about them. But let's go ahead with the 5th round pick, Danny Pinter, the guard out of Ball State.
Ball State,
absolutely. Hopefully I'll be going there.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That's probably where I'm going to go to college.
You too? All right. Nice. Yeah. Well, that makes sense, I guess. And he was selected 149th overall. What do you think about this run-blocking guard?
I have little to say about him, just because of a lack of knowledge. But,
and that's fair. That's fine. Don't feel bad.
But I think 6'4", 306 pounds. This guy, he'll. Look, at the end of the day, I trust Chris Ballard. Mm-hmm. So if Chris Ballard thinks this guy will be good for our team, then go ahead. Because Chris Ballard, in my opinion, is one of the best GMs in the league.
Oh, absolutely.
And I trust most things he does entirely.
Yeah, and I think you're right. There's not too much to say about a guard selection. The thing I will say is he's maybe not as tall as you would expect for a guard, especially with pass blocking, so he's definitely going to be more of a run blocker. But, yeah, again, I think this is one. It's hard to know much as a fan or even an analyst about offensive linemen. So, one more thing we wanted to talk about was the wide receiver room. So, we have T.Y. Hilton, Zach Pascal, Paris Campbell, and Michael Pittman Jr., among a few others. How do you think mainly Michael Pittman, and I know you kind of said this a little bit earlier, but what are your thoughts on how Pittman will fit into that room and how Campbell and Pascal will as well? As I know you said Pittman would be the second wide receiver, but what are your thoughts on that?
Pittman and Campbell is really going to be a debate for me.
Okay.
Because I think both of those players have the potential to start alongside T.Y., but I don't know which one. So what do you think?
Yeah, that's hard. Now,
Pascal's not my favorite personally.
I was going to say, you're leaving out Pascal.
I know.
He's the only proven one.
That's just a personal opinion. He's not my favorite player, but
I would say, as for Pascal, he's not as exciting as the other two because he's kind of a possession receiver.
Yeah.
Can be kind of a deep threat. Actually, he kind of, maybe not a deep threat.
But I'm not sure if with T.Y., do we need another deep threat? Do we need?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
So who are you saying we shouldn't have then? Pascal? Because he's.
But I don't want to say we don't need him.
I don't know if any of those three receivers. I mean, I know I kind of said that. That was kind of a bad thing to say. Honestly, that was not a great take by me. But I don't know if any of those three are really a deep threat. Even Campbell kind of is more of a speed, like he's kind of a closer to the line of scrimmage speed guy, kind of similar to Nyheim Hines. He just catches the ball in space, maybe 3 yards past the line of scrimmage, and then makes plays happen.
Yeah, I like to see players who can make things happen, I guess. Mm-hmm. So, Campbell may actually be my favorite, but then again, you watch film of Pittman, and it's just it's hard to ignore his talent. It really is.
It is, but that's also college film, and a lot of wide receivers have really good college film.
Very fair.
But yeah, all in all, though, I think it's hard to know for sure. I think any of those three that we mentioned could be the number 2 wide receiver for the Colts this year. I think Pascal is the only proven one, but also the least exciting, as we kind of said. So Campbell, the fast one, or Pittman Jr., kind of the all-around threat, kind of the bigger guys, well, almost a tight end. Mm-hmm. It'd be really interesting to see how that shakes out and whether it changes throughout the season. And then one last topic with you, Jacob. I've definitely talked about this, so I'll let you take the floor here. What are the Colts' chances this year for the playoffs, the Super Bowl, the division, mainly the Super Bowl, though, and pretty much everything?
Yeah, well, all right, we know I'm biased, but
not at all.
But I do think this Colts team. I think, like I said, I trust Chris Ballard, and I think he wants to win now. Mm-hmm. I think Chris Ballard is building a team that wants to win immediately, but is kind of also building for the future in the background. But I think his first priority is winning now. And I think that with the pieces we have in place now, we have a legitimate shot. Like, very, very legitimate. And it all comes down to Phil Rivers for me.
Mm-hmm.
It all comes down to, can he perform at the best of his ability again? If he does, we're Super Bowl contenders. Seriously. If he doesn't, I don't know, man.
Yeah, so when I look at this, I kind of see, you look at the team and you say, oh, we have everything. We have an amazing offensive line. Now we have probably a good quarterback. Running back game's fine. Wide receivers will make do. We have fine defensive line now. Actually, a good one now. We have Buckner. And the linebackers are some of the best in the league. Secondary, meh. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But overall, you think it's a good team. But then what I have to look at is, can they beat Kansas City? Can they beat Baltimore? Like, those are just such good, well-constructed teams, especially Kansas City's offense.
I think we can, though.
You think we can?
Look at last season. We beat Kansas City.
I guess we did beat Kansas City.
In Kansas City.
That's true.
And I'm saying, like, I went to the airport a couple months after in Kansas City wearing a Colts jersey. They were still looking at me funny. I mean, come on. Like, one loss can really affect a team like that. But I'm saying because of that shows we have the potential to beat the best teams in the league.
That's
and
true.
I think, again, with the right pieces and with the right performers doing the right things, we are legitimate Super Bowl contenders. But I don't think people really see that right now. I think people see us maybe AFC contender, maybe.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty good power rankings for the Colts, but overall hasn't been, no one's put us ahead of
Kansas City
or Baltimore.
Yeah.
So do you think it's fair to say that the Colts have a shot at the Super Bowl, but shouldn't be favorites, like maybe the 5th or 6th best team in the league?
I'd say
Super Bowl?
I'd say the Colts could be favorites to win the AFC. I don't think they'll win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I think they could lose to a team like
Packers, maybe
they
49ers.
could win. They could lose to a team like the Packers, or the 49ers.
Or the Cardinals. That's my favorite NFC team this year. I know they did bad last year, but just wait. Isaiah Simmons.
Cardinals kind of come out of nowhere,
Hopkins.
Huh? All right.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see how we deal with the Bucks. To be honest.
Yeah. I'm not a big Bucks guy. I think that. Yeah, I think Tom Brady is not.
You don't think he'll deliver?
Exactly. I don't think he's going to deliver. I think he didn't do that well last year. I mean, the Patriots, they made it to the playoffs, but then they lost in the first round, and they had the best defense in the league. So if Tom Brady can't even beat the Titans with the best defense in the league,
and so much of the Patriots is just genius coaching.
Yep.
So yeah. We'll see, but overall, I think the Colts are favorites to win the AFC. I'm not so sure about the Super Bowl, but I do have extremely high hopes.
Yeah, I see. Well, any final words, Jacob? I think we could pretty much wrap it up, but do you have anything else you want to say at the end?
No, that's pretty good. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
All right, well, thank you for coming, absolutely. Yeah. And for all of you listening, I appreciate you listening. Go ahead and leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you next time on The Stable.
Let's go Colts!